How is it going, you lovely lot? Welcome back to Park to Prem. It's a transfer special today. I know there's some of you that don't watch all the videos. Welcome back to the channel. Today, preparing for League One. Safe to say that this season we asserted our dominance over League Two. I feel like the jump from the Vanarama National to League Two isn't that big. The next jump we need to take that little bit bigger. I feel like when you just look through the names in League One, there's just slightly bigger clubs here. Derby, Reading, Barnsley, Wrexham down there, Bolton as well. And if we look up to the Championship and look at teams relegated, Preston, Blackburn, Cardiff. If I want to get 3 promotions in a row, the team needs to be better. I suppose the good news in that regard is we still have all the Andy White money. A transfer budget very generously set at 8.5 million, knowing that we spend about 3 million plus on our youth setup every year. I can't really afford to spend all that, even if the game wants to give me it. But plenty of wage budget as well, so we can sign players. It's not how I like to play the game, though. You know we're going to be looking for bargains today. Already blocked out a rough starting 11 for the coming year. 3 spots we need to fill. Hope you guys are excited for this one. We're going to spend some money, sign some players. I'll see you right after the intro. A warm welcome back. It's Park to Prem. It's episode number 22, and it is Wednesday as you watch this. I hope you're having a fantastic week so far, and well, hopefully it's going to continue a fantastic week here today for me, because last couple of episodes, yeah, it's not always gone to plan. I'm thinking back to the Ipswich Town game still in the FA Cup, but besides that, the team's in a really good spot this year. I have already started to plan out some general squad plans for the coming transfer window. The actual transfer window itself not opening for 9 days, but given the fact it's the 1st of June, felt like it was a good time to come back, just in case there's any players available with 1 month left on their contract. You guys know I love an absolute bargain. Let me introduce you to the latest of my bargains. George Marsh pulled the trigger on this one before the episode began. He was playing over in Northern Ireland, where his contract expires at the end of, I want to say expires at the end of May. Either way, managed to snap him up on a free transfer. I think Scotland and Northern Ireland, their contracts end sooner than in England. Either way, he was captain of Larne FC. Larne, of course, a team I managed once upon a time in Football Manager. In this universe, they just won the top division of Northern Ireland, and having done that by 1 point over Coleraine, George here, who's their captain, decided he wanted a new challenge. I felt like we needed to add some depth at defensive midfielder. Ethan Robson, who was our depth signing last year, on the verge of leaving the club anyway, and when you compare Ethan with George, this man not only has some experience, he is a much better quality player, and surprisingly for me, was actually happy to come in as a backup. Also, can play right wing back. Lots of reasons why this one's a good signing. Now, he won't be joining us for about a week. He'll join us on the 9th of June alongside a load of other players that I covered last episode. If you can't remember these guys, some of them might appear in the first team. Of the ones we've signed, I think James Burgess could be a player that we see infrequently in episodes next year. And the other man I'm particularly excited about is Carl Flood. I cannot believe that Aston Villa are willing to let this guy go. Look at his 20 determination, 17 passing. I feel like he is going to be a really useful player for us. Now, speaking of what's going to be useful for us, I mentioned already this blocked out starting 11. I feel like when we look at the team, there is an Andy White-shaped hole to fit in the striking department and find a player to slot in there. At the moment, Andy isn't willing to come back on loan to us. So I feel like that option just isn't really there. So a goal scorer at a League One level needed. Taylor was our top goal scorer amongst all our players this year. The striker, for a freebie we signed last year, surpassed all expectations. I feel like he might be able to do a job in League One. I don't know if he's the kind of man who, on firepower alone, is going to ensure our promotion. Alongside a new striker, 2 other positions to consider. A left-footed centre-back would be nice. Kingdon has been this man who we've slotted in the team and built the defence around for the last few years. I think he is ready to take the step up to League One as well. He's actually improved leaps and bounds since we signed him. You might remember there was a fair bit of interest in him in January. That's not really been followed up on. However, I did promise him if a bid of 1.2 million came in, I'd sell him for that. There are some teams maybe interested. But yeah, left-footed centre-back, name of the game, and elsewhere, just a new goalkeeper. I feel like every year I've been looking for a new goalkeeper. Sharman Lowe came in to be the successor to Rose this year. Rose is leaving at the end of the year. Sharman Lowe, just not good enough for us this year. I want to find an upgrade on him if I can. And it's weird, right? I don't even feel like he's been super bad. I don't trust him. I can't tell you why I don't trust him. I think it's because he's got injured a little bit. I think that's probably what it is. I feel like goalkeepers are so hit and miss in Football Manager, so I'm probably just being harsh on Sharman Lowe, but I feel like the goalkeeping position of all the areas in the team is one where I look at and go, yeah, I'd like to find someone new there. With regards to the rest of the team, I'm actually really happy with it. I love Ejaria and Alan at right back and left back. They are two players that I think I'm going to be fending off teams kind of coming in for this year. Of course, we've already lost Andy White. Ejaria has developed that little bit quicker, I think it's safe to say, over the last couple of seasons. But nevertheless, the pair of 18-year-olds, players that I don't really want to lose under any circumstances. This is going to be a really weird analogy, but Norwich a few years ago had Jamal Lewis at left back and Max Aarons at right back, or Max Aarons at right back. I feel like Alan and Ejaria are my Jamal Lewis and Max Aarons, and I don't want to lose them. And when it comes to the trio of midfielders between them, this is another area of the pitch where we brought in players this year that I think are going to be really, really good in League One. JB, 23 years old, improved a lot, proved his worth, I think, as a regista this year. 9 assists, 7.23 rating for him. Matos, by comparison, defensive midfielders don't really get good ratings, still managed to finish above a 7.02. With the new addition to the team, it has to be said that maybe George Marsh could provide a little bit of competition in this area of the pitch. Not quite as athletic, but a more defensively astute player. Might be something that we look to utilise as the season kind of kicks off in League One. Both will be given a chance to prove themselves. I already talked about Taylor up front. Geldhart, I'm going to keep faith in as well. The 25-year-old has a little bit of promise still to fulfil. 25 years old. He's our top earner on £5,000. He joined us in January. Played pretty well last year. Would love to see these numbers go up and up and up. Think he is a player capable, though, of taking that step to League One. Being real for a moment, in an ideal world, I think £5,000 is our wage limit. So if we sign players, I'm going to try and avoid going over the amount that Joe's on here. Otherwise, well, our costs per month and per season could spiral a little bit out of control. I realise I've talked about the whole starting 11 with the exception of Zach Orr. Good little right back, reliable little right back, doesn't love big matches, but great with the ball at his feet. In terms of what we need with a ball-playing defender, he ticks all the boxes. As for the bench, I think there's a few players here who were in the starting 11 last year that are capable of just being the sub-options for us. Jesse Deborah was one of our starting centre-backs for the entirety of the last season. Hasn't necessarily put a foot wrong, but with promotion, just feels like he's the kind of player who's an obvious player to look to try and upgrade. Alongside him, Egbo has proven his worth as a versatile defensive option. Going to be honest, not the best player in terms of overall ability, but ticks a lot of boxes for us. Elsewhere on the bench, Bob Davis, a player who I promoted from our youth team last year, at the end of last year, the end of season 3. To be honest, I'm not sure longer term how useful he's going to be and how often he's going to be on the bench. Might demote him back to the under-21s, especially with some of the new defensive midfielder arrivals we've got. But I did try and give him some game time to end the year. To be fair, I gave it to him. He didn't play very well. Final two slots on the bench are Voltman and Ashley Fletcher. These two players that prove their worth. Voltman, I think, as a centre attacking mid backup is great. Ashley Fletcher, by comparison, 31 years old, declining a little bit as a player. I look at his valuation, I look at his age, he's going to be 32 in a couple of months. And as good as he was for us in League 2, he's the kind of player where if I got a bit of a couple of £100,000 for, might look to move him on. Speaking of which, there are a couple of sales in progress at the moment. Ben Jackson we signed at the start of last year to be a backup. Didn't really play for us. Wanted to move on to get more regular first-team football. We've had a bid of £200,000 received for him. Includes a profit of next sell-on as well. Decided to snap that up. £200,000 for a backup centre-back who has more ones in his technicals than any other player in our team. Just felt like a good decision. And another player who I'm looking to sell is Ethan Robson. Signed him as an emergency backup defensive mid option. We've got some better defensive mids coming in. Not going to have a spot for him in the first team. Just want to save some money on wages, really. Feel like it's always important before we start doing transfers. I kind of give you a pretty good indicator of where the squad's at, where I'm looking to improve. Now you're completely filled in. Now we can get down to bidness. Feel like a good starting point today will be to just sort out some recruitment focuses. Of all the positions we need to sign a player for, striker, getting someone in who's a League One caliber striker who can get goals for us, I think is just the most important thing possible. We're not going to get promoted without goals. I did set up a focus trying to find a goalkeeper last year and it didn't really work. Maybe we'll have more luck this year. And given the growth that we've had when it comes to our scouting system and our scout numbers this year, finally this year I can actually set up a few more assignments than in previous years. Still have actually got a spot for another scout, if I'm not mistaken. There is someone coming in here. Yeah, Eric is going to come in and be a scout. He's been a scout at Nice before, so you could say he's quite Nice at his job. I mean, look at the attributes. They're good. I've not signed him just for the pun, I swear. But yeah, in general, the coaching team and the recruitment team, I touched upon it last episode, it has seen some significant growth this year. We're definitely elevating things up. Suppose the fact that we have pretty much the highest standard of staff in every training category, every recruitment category, and almost every medical category, at least for a League 2 level club, is an indicator of just how much we've been able to upgrade this part of our team this year. I know there has been a few comments saying, Jack, you're signing foreign staff members. Yeah, I am. There was never a rule against foreign staff members. I feel like I have to add a little bit of culture into Brexit FC somehow. So I did come back on the 1st of June because I did just want to have a look at contracts expiring in 1 month just to see if there was any particularly good options out there. I mean, Dele Alli is available. I'll be honest, he's not really been doing that well in the National League, so I'm not sure he'll be a good signing for us. In terms of options I've got scouted, Dominic Thompson is a player out there. He can play left back and he can kind of play right back. He looks better than Egbo. I'm not about signing the first players that I look at, but Egbo we signed to be a versatile defensive option. Dominic might be a better Egbo than Egbo is. When you look at this comparison, he does look very, very good. Was a backup at Plymouth this year. Previously was on loan in the Scottish Premiership. Did okay there. Has played at League 1 level a fair amount as well. I actually quite like the look of him. What kind of wages is he going to want? 2.9 to 3.9 thousand. That's all very reasonable. Wants to be a fringe player as well. This is getting better. Last year I set a limit, didn't I, of £3,500. I feel like that's the kind of money now I'm willing to offer to backup players. I'll offer him a contract extension after promotion of 1 year. If we get to the Championship, Dominic can have another year. I've lowered his wage total and extended his contract. He really wants 3.6 thousand. Dominic, look, I have a bit of money in the bank, Dominic. I'll give you cash up front if you're a bit cheaper with your wages. £3.2 thousand for him. Super consistent player. Apparently achieves a club vision objective. What vision will that be? I realise it's probably just the sign English players one, isn't it? That is definitely the objective he fulfills. Nevertheless, I think as a backup option, he could actually be really good. I feel like 3-star current ability doesn't look all that impressive. Very important thing to mention with our team. Because we've got a few players with really high kind of potentially Premier League potential, it's kind of knocked all the ability stars downwards. For our team, a 3-star backup player would actually be a particularly good signing. Also worth noting, Egbo is naturally right-footed and plays out on the right-hand side. By comparison, Thompson is a left-footed player who likes to play out on the left. So I feel like that's another nice Brucey bonus. I feel like there's room for both these players in the team. There are a few more players here. George Thomas, place of Cambridge, not all that impressive there. Zach Swanson as a right-back option. Actually, another good versatile player, but currently on £5,000 a week. Have a sneaking suspicion he might ask for a bit too much, although his demands are reasonable. Little bit concerned about the injury proneness. Matthew Pennington is a great centre-back. If he was left-footed, I might take a punt on him as a short-term left centre-back option, but he's not left-footed. He is also 33 in a matter of months. We are lacking perhaps a little bit of experience in our team, but what I will say is it's not like our team is full of children. Like, there's a lot of players here, and even some of the younger players like Jack Kingdon now have actually racked up a decent number of minutes played over the last few years. You might have noticed as well with our first team, a load of players with long contract extensions. You might remember during the last summer transfer special when we signed players, a lot of them we signed with contract extensions after promotion. A ton of them have now kicked in. It means that for a player like Alex Matos, he's actually contracted at the club for 6 more years, which is absolutely ludicrous, really, considering I'm not sure if he's even going to necessarily be a nailed-on starter this coming year. But elsewhere, Ejaria now committed to a 5-year contract. JB also on a 5-year contract. And as you can see, it's a similar story for a fair few more players here. In terms of starting 11 players, the only player with a contract expiring in the foreseeable future is Joe Taylor, whose contract's up at the end of next season. And Aaron Allen's contract is also up in 2028, but he has got an optional contract extension by club, so we can trigger that at any point will basically mean he's contracted till 2030. In terms of players I've got scouted with contracts expiring in a month, there's no players here who I look at and think, you are just a must-sign starting goalkeeper or centre-back. Of course, I'm not just looking for centre-backs or strikers or goalkeepers here. I'm just looking at all the options available. There's some decent players here, but no one I'm kind of going crazy over. If I sort by world reputation, I mean, Courtney House is available, maybe. I know he's had a lot of issues with injury in real life. He's had a lot of issues with injuries in game too. Besides that, no one immediately jumping out at me. I think one thing that we learnt last year in the transfer window was that actually sometimes the best plan of attack is just to be patient. Wait till the 1st of July where players are officially released. There was definitely a lot more players available then. Sam Gallagher here actually at Stoke is really not a bad little option. He's played in the Championship the last few years. Goal scoring record not the best. I did notice here his wages are £13,000 a week. He wants me to pay him $14,000. That's not going to work, Sam. I'm afraid to say. Not sure he's a fit for us. First sale of the window, Ethan Robson leaving for £14,000. Not a massive sum of money, but he's been just a super mega backup player. Already got a few new defensive midfielders coming in, so just not a route into the first team for him. And I did also spot here, Dunfermline and Motherwell have made offers for Thompson. I really like Dominic Thompson here. I'd love to sign him to be our backup fullback. Whether or not I'm willing to throw even more money at a backup fullback, I guess, is a slightly different question. I'll offer him a little bit more money, but ultimately, if we lost out to him, of all the players that in recent years I haven't been able to sign, I wouldn't be too upset if we don't get Thompson here. I think the main aim now, get to the 9th of June, get some scout reports in that I've got queued up, and, get the new players in, start planning out the team a little bit more. Also, Eric is joining us as a scout. Mon ami, bonjour. I don't know what the equivalent of welcome is. We'll just say hello to him. I'm sure that's fine. We have a new scout. Over the last year, whenever I've been able to, I've just been spamming requests for more coaches and more scouts. I can't ask for another new scout yet. I have just asked for another new coach. You know what, while we're here, should we ask for a new physio? I don't know. When in London, or when in Wanderers, except Wanderers isn't a place. So when in London. It's not quite as catchy as when in Rome, is it? I'm going to ask for more coaches. Let's see if we get any. I have got a load of players that I scouted here who had contracts expiring in the next few months. A few of these options don't look that bad, but yeah, I feel like I should just wait till July at this point. All I'm going to say is my scouts are going to be busy for a little bit here. Loads of players with contracts expiring. Just wanted to make sure we have a decent database of players on our radar for coming into, well, the start of July, where hopefully a load of these players are going to be free agents. The board have turned down my request for more coaches. I'll beg them. We're desperately lacking numbers. That's probably not a good option. I can't stress how important I believe this to be. Please, please, we'll be left behind. Okay, Will couldn't change his mind there. Also rejected our request for more physios. Can I beg for more physios? We can beg for more. Of course they give me more physios, but not more coaches. I mean, I guess that's good. Welcome to my guide on how to find the best physios. All you do is you go to staff role physio, set physiotherapy to a value, and then sign the one with the best numbers. I kind of wish staff had a bit more of a gameplay mechanic than it does in Football Manager. It's not exactly the most high-stakes, thrilling gameplay, is it? You know what? Hagberg here, 20 physiotherapy, 36 years old. We found our physio for life here. He does want £1,000, but you know what? 3-year deal, contract extension after promotion, 3 years. Anton, welcome to Wanderers. Yeah, I do wish there was more to recruiting staff than just kind of setting the attributes and putting it as high as possible. I know that you can theoretically just put job adverts out and not use those filters, but it's not like attribute masking exists for staff, is it? I find it very cute that I get given inbox items about ESC permits. I can never sign someone who needs a work permit, so this is never going to be a problem. Rumours are that Salford want to make a bid of £1.2 million to Jack Kingdon. Apparently his transfer value is a lot higher than that. If I set it to unspecified, okay, it's not that much more valuable. I saw 2.7 million here and I got excited. Anyway, we have got a load of new signings joining us here. The ratings from the board and the staff are a bit harsh here. There is some good players here. George Marsh, oh God, I tell you what, he looks good with a black shirt next to him. He is going to be our backup defensive mid to start the year. Like I said, longer term, there is a world where maybe he comes in for Matos. I do like Matos's physicality. I feel like with our system, it's quite demanding of the defensive midfielders to get up and down the pitch on occasion. But nevertheless, George has come in and just wanted to be a fringe player, so it's not like I have to play him. And James Burgess, we signed, the 18-year-old from Notts County, has some really good potential. We signed him for £500,000. Feel like he's going to be another good backup defensive midfielder option for us. I am going to promote him to the first team. He's just been stuck with the children. And of those new arrivals, another player who's just been stuck with the children is Carl Flood. The young Irish player, I think, could be a really good backup centre attacking mid for us. Maybe he could even play Regista. Maybe Regista's the option, but I feel like in terms of trying to get him minutes, probably got the best chance of playing for us at centre attacking mid. He is already accomplished at centre attacking mid, so it's not like we're training him in a whole new position. I'm going to put his focus on shadow striker and then an extra focus on, I guess, acceleration and pace. Maybe a better option, even if I'm going to play him at centre attacking mid, would just be to focus on roaming playmaker. Basically, I just want to make him as well-rounded as possible. He's a great little player. He needs to develop some wheels. He's not very quick. Also, I have just promoted him to the first team as well. I've suddenly got a load of new defensive mids in, I realise. Bad news, Bob. With the new arrivals, you're probably not needed in the first team. Go have some fun in the under-21s. Bad news, Dominic Thompson has chosen Motherwell. It was a straightforward decision. He didn't have to be so harsh about it, did he? Have also had a bid for Ejaria here. I think this came in a few days ago and I missed it. £2.4 million offered by Brighton. No, not that. It's got to be more than that. Having sold Andy White for 10 million, I'm getting kind of greedy with the amount I expect for all our players. But given the fact his upper valuation is 5.4 million and his current contract now lasts 5 more years, there's no release clause involved. It's going to have to be a mighty big bid for me to consider selling him. He was League 2 Player of the Year last year. He got 19 assists in 37 games. I mean, he's arguably our best player. Ejaria wants to talk about the need to play with better players. I mean, that's harsh on your teammates. He wants to move to a bigger club. We've got some fantastic youth prospects in the squad, and if you give them time, you'll be playing in a team that's every bit as strong as the teams you're thinking of. That's just not true, is it? There's not really a good way to please him here. I'll just say money talks. Will that make you stay? I feel like that is the least bad option to tick sometimes. I don't want to make a promise about selling him. I don't want to set an asking price. I don't want to upset him really badly by saying, you're not going anywhere. I almost feel like it's a bit of gaslighting players, isn't it? When you go, would more money help? And then they say no. It's like, well, I offered you more money and you said no. I don't know. That's how I look at it, at least. He is now unhappy. He'll be fine. Burnley make a bid for Ejaria. Part of me wants Burnley to be the team who signed this man, just so he's reunited with Andy White. But for that kind of money, it's not happening. Also, our recruitment focuses that we've got going on are producing results. This one is actually looking at players in the National League, where apparently Carlos Richards could be a player to sign. We're being suggested a right winger when we don't play with wingers. I don't know why I'm paying my scouts to do this. I mean, to be fair, that focus was probably set up when we got promoted. Now that we're in League One, I feel like we're looking a bit higher than those kind of players. Right now, the search for a goalkeeper isn't really going anywhere. Ball-playing defenders, not great either. Gask is the man they're looking at. He's on loan from Accrington Stanley. Who are they? He's actually not a bad little player. He's playing for Belgians under-21s. He played a load of games last year for Accrington Stanley, having generated at them. Why do I want to sign this guy suddenly? We'll get more scouting done on him. I assume he's part English, and that's why we're looking at him. Indeed he is. The other options they've shown me there, not particularly inspiring. Any strikers? Not really. Devon Staple is an option. I mean, he's not bad. He's just not leading League One quality, is he? Strikers with contracts expiring in the next month. Mason Bennett. He used to be an absolute baller in Football Manager. Very injury prone. Hates important matches. I don't love it. He's the best of the striking options I've got scouted. I mean, Junior Dixon here, not a bad player, but again, really injury prone. Mitchell, just not of the quality I'm looking for. If I sort by world reputation players that are interested in transfer, more players here, but I can already tell by the teams they're playing for, just not going to be of the quality that I'm looking to sign. If I untick realistic transfer, I've still got nationality set to English here. And then if I just put contract general wage at most, 5,000. Maybe this is a better indicator at the kind of players that we might be able to sign. Saying all of that, it's not like there's a load of new players appearing here, although Justin's very good. Justin's got lots of teams interested in him. I really want Justin. He's definitely not going to want to sign for me, is he? I'll tell you what, he would have been an absolutely balling signing, although his name probably would have been a problem. I read the end of it of Duo and I think of Sudowoodo, the Pokemon. Yeah, you know what? For the sake of the commentary, maybe it's a good thing he doesn't want to join me. The name would be a struggle. But he's one of only a few players that seems to have been added to this list, at least when I search by world reputation and players that are actually interested in signing for me. Zach Marsh is also at Crystal Palace. He's not very good. I'm going to be honest. I feel like this might be a get to the start of July kind of vibe. Not only will players be free agents then, but our reputation should have jumped up a little bit. Right now, we've not had that end of season tick over date. That'll happen in a little over a week. Then we can kind of see how the League One season is shaping up. Of course, the board expectation for that League One season is a top half finish. So I'm hoping when the initial season preview and media prediction comes in, we're not too far down the list. There's an offer for AA here. It's less than £300,000. I mean, it's just insulting from Brighton, really, isn't it? Do one. Bid for Ejaria from Aberdeen. No. More offers made for Ejaria. These are not small offers. Burnley have offered 2.3 million. I mean, I managed to get 10 million before, didn't I, for White? I'm just going to ask for a load of money here. I want £8 million, 50% of next sale. I'm just going to be absolutely unreasonable. I mean, it worked once. I was hoping it might work again. Burnley, by the way, have actually established themselves as a Premier League team. Last 2 seasons, they've stayed up. As a result of that, they have got a bit of money to throw around. Also, Andy White's listed as their hot prospect. Can I extend his loan now? No, I can't. I think he's gone, everyone. I'm going to be really, really sad when the social media feed goes from Football Manager next year, because whilst it's nothing special, there's occasionally a gem like Scott Crockett here, or Cockett here, that just says, keep rejecting plus, hashtag Ejaria. I feel like he comments on the videos, Scott. That's the kind of YouTube comment I see. I'll tell you what, I know that I get a lot of people skip through the transfer specials. If you're someone who's hyper engaged with the video, just go down below and type in, keep rejecting plus, just like it's written here. Lets me know that you've watched it in the video and not just skipping to the end like one of those TikTok Zoomer brainer kids. That was the extension of span of 20 seconds. I feel like my content isn't for that kind of person anyway. League One season draws near. Oh, I'm ready. I'm excited. Burnley just keep making bids for Ejaria here, and it's getting a bit annoying. I mean, currently there's 4 active bids made for him. Burnley's is the biggest by a margin. 7 million. I asked for 8 million before, didn't I? I'm going to ask for 7 million now. I feel like there's no way they accept this, but at the same time, I just don't want to sell Ejaria. I mean, they've not outright told me to piss off, so that's kind of promising, but at the same time, do I want to sell my starting right back? I feel like I'm setting myself up here to have a problem. It's £5 million, but I don't need that money now. But it is also 50% of the next sale. I feel like I shouldn't do it. He's our vice-captain. He's got 16 leadership. He's got a 5-year contract. He's only going to be worth more down the line. I'm going to reject it. The fact the board haven't interfered in any of my transfers, including the Andy White offers I've got, makes me hope that their threshold to interfere with selling players above my head is quite high. So with that in mind, maybe I'm not going to have an issue with the board selling players like Ejaria without me having a say. Maybe I can protest it if those offers do get accepted as well. We've been here quite a while now. At least now the title of today's video can be, I rejected a £5 million bid. I'd love to know in the comments, would you have accepted that bid? I feel like I just don't need the money now. You know, it's not about the money. Money, etc. You know, the song. Wolves have offered 3 million in clauses. Like, I want 10 Wolves. Thing is, they've not outright said no there. On the one hand, I could absolutely potentially fleece these teams, but at the same time, whilst I could be fleecing them now, in 5 years' time, I might come to reject selling players like Ejaria. Like, if he does end up being this absolutely insane player, playing for England, and I'm doing an England-only save game, and he came through my academy, and I sold him for 8 million, I look like a moron, don't I? Okay, the good news is Wolves didn't want to bid the amount of money that I was outrageously asking for. I feel like if I wasn't doing an English-only save game, I'd probably weigh up these bids a little bit more. I know I already sold Andy White, but in some ways selling him has meant that I no longer need to sell anyone else for the next few years. But obviously, if I now just accept an Ejaria bid anyway, then I sold Andy White for nothing. Okay, sooner rather than later, we should get the leaderboard pop up here. And I get, there's another big offer here. The leaderboard should pop up here and we get the new season updates. Aaron Allen is getting pitiful bids of £300,000, which I'm definitely not accepting. Ejaria has just had a bid from Burnley worth potentially 8.75 million. Oh, it's getting difficult to say no. I want 50% of the next sale. Whatever they sell him for, I want half of it. I'm going to get greedy. 15 million. I feel like that was me just saying that he's not for sale really politely. For all this umming and ahhing, I'm not going to sell him. I've made a decision. Unless I got a bid over 12 million, he's not going anywhere. Also, Hagberg is joining us as a new physio. Welcome, Anton. Like I said, if I wasn't doing an English-only save game where I can't sign non-English players, and maybe if Ejaria hadn't come through my academy, I probably would have accepted one of the bids that I've had. But all these big bids, all this interest I'm getting in certain players makes me feel like they must be quite good for this many Premier League teams to be interested. And with me knowing that the Championship and Premier League and long-term success in this save game is really going to hinge on me having the best of a generation when it comes to the English players that come through and being able to get them when they're young, selling a player like Ejaria, who I might be desperate to get back in 5 to 10 years, just feels very short-sighted. At the moment, I'm fortunate enough to be in a situation where this pool of English players that are League One quality is quite wide. When we get to the Premier League, that pool of top-end Premier League players who are English is a lot smaller selection. And if I'm selling players that are part of that selection now, it's probably stupid. League 2 signing of the year, Joe Taylor leads the way. I mean, rightfully so. JB and Egbo are up there as well, which is cool to see. Apparently, we were the biggest overachievers. I feel like that is disrespectful to the quality of players we have. Aaron Allen, by the way, was playing with the Irish under-21s. He's now been called up by the England under-19s for the under-19 championship. It's Declan Rice all over again. Okay, leaderboard has popped up here. That means we're about to enter the new season. If our media prediction is kind of 10th to 12th in League One, I feel like that would be a good starting point. It's 15th here. Although the media prediction, I feel like it changes depending on where you look. Okay, it's 14th here. That's not as high as I was hoping it was going to be. A loan deal for Andy White set to expire. And Andy, please stay. Please stay, Andy. Also, I've just noticed he's valued up to 56 million. I mean, on the one hand, I'm now annoyed I've sold him for 10 million. On the other hand, I do get 50% of any next sale. Not even the profit, just the next sale. We could end up with tens of millions given to us in the future. That would be fun. First game of the League One season, Crew away. Crew have just been promoted with us, so that's not a sexy game to start the year. After that, though, home tie against our local rivals in Leyton Orient. They are actually listed as our local rivals, you can say, in-game. I did add that in because we do share a stadium with them. We are from Leytonstone, which is where Leyton Orient get their name from. We play at the same ground. That should be a fun game to start the year. Also, a load of the youth players that I provisionally signed to contracts that kick in at the end of the year, now all signing those deals, so that's fun too. Favourite to promotion from League One, by the way, the teams that were relegated. I have to imagine that teams like Blackburn, who have Todd Cantwell here, they've got quite significant quality in their ranks. Cardiff's key player here is Alex Robertson. He's quite good. And Preston, despite being third in the list, their key man is Freddie Woodman, who, I mean, he's the kind of goalkeeper I'd love to sign, but he is on £16,000 a week. Probably also doesn't want to join me. By the way, our under-21s, I think, did they get relegated? I don't know if they got relegated or if our youth levels dropped, but we're no longer in the Premier League 2. We're now in the Premier League Development League. Doesn't sound as sexy, does it, as Premier League 2? I don't know if that makes it more affordable to run that team. I don't think it does. Also, I've got to remember there is a wage kind of cap that I'm allowed to spend in League 2. That wage cap is £83,000. We are comfortably under that, I'm pleased to report. Got to consider the changes in FFP in recent years at this level. The good news is it shouldn't bite us in the bum too much yet. I say yet because if we get stuck in this league for a little while, maybe then it becomes a problem. Looking at players with contracts expiring in a month, Reece Williams, who I wanted to sign a few years ago, is looking to leave Tranmere at the end of his contract. My oh my, how the tables have turned. He is a very, very good centre-back. He's actually on a very cheap wage as well. I don't know if he's as good as he would have been for our team a few years ago. He still probably would be a very good free transfer signing. The issue I have is he's not left-footed, but he is quite good with the ball at his feet. How does he compare to Orr? Athletically, he's not as quick, but way better in the air, way better defensively. I mean, is there a world where Williams plays on one side, maybe Orr plays on the other? Or maybe because Kingdon is actually quite quick, he'd be better suited to playing in a wide area, even if his passing and vision aren't the best for us. Maybe Orr plays at left centre-back again for the year like he has done. Reece Williams becomes the centre-back. I think I said when I was eyeing him up when we were in the National League that I thought he was a League One quality player. I kind of stand by that. A little bit of a concern about his injury proneness, but to be honest, he's not actually had that many injuries in this save game. He's not had an injury that's been over 8 days. Oh, I quite like the look of him. Sadly, he wants us to get promoted. Mate, you play for a League 2 team at the moment. What are you chatting? Okay, well, the good news is no one else wants him right now. Maybe on the 1st of July, he'll be more interested in joining us. I have just remembered I have got realistic transfers unticked right now. I feel like one player I really didn't talk about last year was Overton. Considering how imperative he was to our first few years, last year he vanished off the face of the earth. I don't see a world where I'm using him this year. He's probably the kind of player who I just need to look to try and move in and sell on. I'm trying to think if there's any other players currently not blocked out in my starting 11 in a similar spot. Callum Jones has been a good backup for us last few years. I do question if he's even going to play for us much this year. With all the new defence midfielders that we've got in the team, he's very quickly kind of dropped down the pecking order. There is interest in him from Fleetwood. You know what? I'm going to offer him out. Just transfer list him, unspecified price, see what money we could get. Connor Pye, another player listed here, who I like Connor Pye. Last year we didn't use him all that much. When we did use him, he wasn't exactly standout. If I move him on, I desperately have to then find a backup left back. I feel like he's the kind of player who I don't need to make an active effort to move on, but should I find a new left back that I decide to sign, there's a world where I just then let him go. More bids for Ejaria. 10.75 million offered by West Ham, albeit some of it is quite conditional. I mean, it's a guaranteed 7.7 million. I feel like I've said this twice already in this video. If I wasn't doing an English-only save game, I would run away and take that money. But I have to turn it down. Everton have made an offer here. I've noticed that Ejaria's value's gone up even more, which kind of makes me feel like I should be keeping hold of him. If I just ask for 15 million, what do they say? Okay, you know what? They've made that easier for me. I know the money's really good. I feel like I'd be making a mistake if I sell him. He was my player of the year last year. I feel like some people are shaking their head right now with disappointment and disgust, and I'm sorry. Wanderers release players headline news here. Joe Rose leaving the club on a freebie. And the other man we've decided to let go is Charlie Whittaker. Was useful for us in the National League. Didn't really look like a good player capable of playing at League 2 level. League 1 now, I was just never going to find a spot for him in the team. I just want to let you know that Ben Hockenall doesn't seem right at the minute. It seems he's anxious about being in the last year of his contract. I've got some bad news for you, mate. Your contract already expired. Like, today, it expired today. I've released him. That's probably not solved his anxiety. There's a couple of other players in the youth setup here who don't really have potential, haven't really developed as much as I would have hoped, so going to release them as well. Okay, players released. Andy White has left us. Will they loan him back to me now? They won't loan him back to me now. I mean, hopefully suddenly there's going to be a load of new free transfer players available. Of course, Ben Jackson has also left the club for 200k. Now I know the squad I have, I feel like we can get down to business. Apologies to fans of Gabriel Overton and Callum Jones. They've not had offers for them yet. I am just going to move them down to the under-21s. I don't think they're going to be playing for us this year. Hopefully we get some bids for them. Current first team size is 20 players. I think last year we had a squad of 24 players. If we fill the 2 gaps I've got here in the team, in fact 3 gaps, need a goalkeeper as well, we'll be well on the way to having a team ready for the season. Speaking of that new season, by the way, it kicks off on the 1st of August. I've got 4.5 weeks just about to try and get ready for the new year. Contract status expired. Who is available? There's new players available. Travis Akomir here. Wowzer. Now, he's released by Chelsea. I'll look at his physicals. Acceleration, jumping reach, pace. 17 determination. There is a bid for him already. League 1 and League 2 teams are queuing up. He's not a left-footed centre-back. Is he better than Reece Williams, who we were looking at before? I feel like I'm just staring at the physicals, and yet I still really want to make a bid for him. How much does he want? He wants to be an important player. Definitely can't offer him that. Will he go down to regular starter? He will. Oh, his wage demands are really, really reasonable. I mean, he's not exactly the player I need, but he's the kind of player who I just kind of want to sign because he's there. Which probably isn't the best reason to sign a player. I've removed a lot of clauses from his contract here, which I don't think he's going to be very happy about. So I'm now going to try and stick in some extra ones to make him happy. He wants a relegation release clause of 2.6 million. I'll tell you what, mate, if we get relegated, you can go for $500,000. How'd you like them apples? He didn't like them enough. That apple? He loved that apple. Every fibre of my being thinks that this is a terrible idea for a signing, but I just like the physicals, and I feel like physicals are very important still at this level. He probably wouldn't even start that often for a centre-back. Speaking of which, I probably should go and check if Reece Williams now wants to sign for me. Reece, it's only me. You wouldn't talk to me a week ago. Now he wants to talk to me. Right, let's negotiate. £10,000! He was on £2,000 at Tranmere, and he wants a match highest earner clause. I'm just going to walk away slowly. In terms of the players I've got scouted with contract status expired, Tyler Goldringham. Apparently I've scouted. Is he even part English? Okay, he is part English. I'm not sure why he's been rated so highly. Really, I should probably just tick the interested in transfer thing just to make my job a little easier. Zach Swanson here, we had a little look at right at the beginning of the episode, and I thought, he could be good, but I don't know if he's the option. Egbo at the moment is our versatile wing-back option. I mean, Zach is probably an upgrade on Egbo. He's 26 years old, a little bit worried about his injury proneness. I mentioned that desire that maybe I could sell Pi this year if the right offer came in. This guy's definitely better than Pi, and although he's not naturally left-footed, he's got a very strong left foot and can play left-back. Zach wants to be a squad player. That's good. Is he willing to go down to impact sub? He is. In terms of wages, not the cheapest player in the world for a backup win-back, it has to be said, but maybe I can sweeten the deal here by putting in contract extension after promotion and giving him a year longer than he wanted. £2,900 for a backup centre-back. I mean, that is... It's not cheap. It would make him the 7th highest earner, but to be honest, we're kind of at a point now where maybe £3,000 is just what I'm going to have to pay for backup players. Head-to-head against Egbo, I think he is a better player. I feel like they can both be useful backups, to be honest. Kalen Vickers, 22 years old. This guy looks quite good. I say that. I've seen his injury proneness and consistency now. Very, very highly rated. Carlisle wants him. Do I want him? I don't think I do. I'll get more scout reports. I don't think he's the one. Mamadou Suso? He looks quite fun as a player in terms of the name to say. He has great mentals. He can't really run or do anything, but the man can defend. He was at Norwich, previously at Man City. I mean, he's not a bad player at all, but I just have a load of other good defensive midfielders, and I'm not sure he's as good as them. Matos, of course, is our starting defensive midfielder, a player who was also at Norwich earlier on in his career. George Marsh is our new backup, and whilst Susoho here probably is a better player in terms of defensively, it's just the physicality which I think is a problem for him. I mean, if you were playing with an anchorman, he probably ticks all the boxes. But we don't play with an anchorman. Also, he's not very big or scary or strong for an anchorman. I feel like I need to be a bit more precise with my searches and maybe start searching by position. I still need to find my new goalkeeper, don't I? Toby Savin? You ain't going to be saving anything for me. Jack Bycroft. I've had him in a park to Prem. He has a familiar face. I don't know which save game it was. Someone in the comments will know. Luke McGee, not great in the air, which I feel like for a goalkeeper is a problem. Harry Lewis, no. Aston Oxborough, actually not awful. Actually not bad, Aston Oxborough. Maybe it's just his 19 jumping reach, though, that I'm looking at. He hates important matches and he's injury prone. I mean, based on the kind of goalkeepers I've had the last few years, he fits the bill perfectly, but I'm trying to move away from what we've had before. Ooh. Maybe Ainsley Pears. Ainsley Pears? Pears, probably Pears, isn't it? Not Pears. He's not as good in the air and his distribution's not as good, but compared to Teddy, he's a very good goalkeeper. Granted, last year he was just relegated with Blackburn, but he was their championship goalkeeper for 3 years in a row. The ratings leave a lot to be desired. How much does he want? He doesn't think we have the financial muscle to sign him. Never mind. I'm going to go to an old school scouting solution. I'm just going to go look at the media dream 11 for the league below us. Daniel Barden apparently is the best. He's actually quite good. He's York's goalkeeper. Is he good? I mean, he doesn't like important matches. His polygon looks more impressive than Teddy's, but then when you look at the attribute comparison, Teddy looks like quite similar to him in terms of quality. I guess I can get a scout report. If you don't look, by the way, at the Media Dream 11s, always worth just having a look through these. Sometimes there's just players that pop up that you maybe haven't seen in previous searches. Like Cade Gordon playing for Stockport County. That's very weird. He's on £11,000 at Stockport. Stockport last year didn't get promoted. Look at the money that some of their players are on. Like, it's actually mental. If you're wondering, have they been taken over by a tycoon? No, they just have absolutely no self-control when it comes to wages. I feel like it's always worth just looking through the Media Dream 11, just in case there's some mad, young kind of players with good potential out there. Like this guy, Taylor O'Kane. He's actually quite good. I mean, he's not good enough for me now, but if I was a League 2 club, trying to sign this guy from the National League would be a must signing. Can you remember Len Bickerson, by the way? We were trying to sign him last year and he wanted like £16,000. He's decided to sign for Forest Green on £3,000. What an idiot. Okay, goalkeepers there aren't many of. What about strikers? Oh, Dane Scarlett. Dane Scarlett is just a fun player in Football Manager. I feel like he never really reaches his potential that he has in game. 23 years old, just released by Tottenham. Played in League One for Stockport the year they got relegated. The year before that, played for Oxford. I mean, I quite like him. I don't even feel like he's necessarily that good, but I was going to say he could still be a useful player for us. The fact that he wants £5,000 could be a bit of an issue here. I'm going to offer him a long-term deal and see if he's interested in it. I didn't think he would just accept that. I mean, I've offered him £4,000 there. Is he going to start for me? I feel like he probably would start for me. I'm comparing him against a Voltman, and he's better in the air and he's a bit quicker, which I think suits him better to being a striker. I mean, to be fair, compared to Ashley Fletcher, he is just a straight upgrade. He is 23 years old as well, Dane Scarlett. I feel like he's a player who could grow with the club. I do quite like him. I hate that I like it as a signing. I think it's partially because I know how good he can be in Football Manager, and whilst he's not quite there now, maybe he could be. To be fair, there's some other striking options here that I know are quite good in Football Manager, like Biancheri here, who I should probably be looking at. This guy, caps for Wales. Is he better than Dane Scarlett? No, not really. Ruel here, not a bad player. Is he as good as Dane? The answer's no. Dane is a very strong first name, isn't it? Tyler Roberts used to be an absolute baller in FM. I mean, to be fair, you know, he and Joe Geldhart were up top together for Leeds once upon a time. How does he compare with Dane Scarlett? I mean, arguably, he's a little bit better, and he's also super versatile, the 28-year-old. He's been playing at Birmingham the last couple of years. I feel like he used to be way better. His agent says he wants £12,000 to £16,000. That ain't happening, is it? Sam Nombi. Definitely not how you say his name. Good. Not great in the air. I'm going to compare every player to Dane Scarlett. I mean, he's probably more complete than Dane Scarlett, but he's also 5 years older. 5.5 years older, if we want to be precise. I hate to say it. I feel like Dane Scarlett would be a really good transfer. Either-footed as well. Okay, so what I've deduced from about the last half an hour of playing is that I'm going to try and sign Travis here because he's really quick and good physically, and also Reece Williams doesn't want to sign for me. Dane Scarlett would be a really good option, and I think Zach Swanson here could be a good utility man at the back. I feel like it was more productive in the moment. Now I'm looking back at what I've just done in retrospect. I've played a lot of Football Manager there to come away with free transfers. Of course, you might not have had to worry about that too much. Pray for editing Jack. He's had to watch me go down loads of rabbit holes there and tangents. Players released by teams in England. I mean, there's none of these players, is there? That's going to want to join me. Isaiah Jones? No. Dominic Hyam's just been released by Blackburn after they were relegated to League One. He doesn't want to come down to League One himself. James McAtee is a free transfer. I'll tell you what, if we were like a newly promoted Championship club, he'd be a great free transfer to sign. Unfortunately, he's become a free agent a year too soon. I say that. I'm talking as if we're going to get promoted from this division. Definitely not a guarantee. I feel like when you rise up through the leagues in Football Manager, that sometimes League One is that year where you need a couple of years of consolidation. It's kind of that year where there's that first initial jump in kind of wages and stuff. Callum Jones, by the way, Wimbledon are willing to pay 700k for him. Not 700, sorry. I wish 70k for him. I'll offer him out for that amount and hope that we get an offer. To be honest, he's going to be nowhere near the first team this year, so I just need to get rid of him. Loads of people are making offers for Akamir here to take him on trial. Has anyone actually made an actual offer? The answer is yes, everyone. That's annoying. Travis has gone to Lincoln City, who, by the way, in this universe, established Championship club. Annoying. More offers for Swanson made. Also annoying. Less annoying, offer for Overton. Burton were relegated last year to League 2. They've offered me 140k. You can have him for that. I'll tell you what, Burton over the years signed a lot of my players off me. Apparently Daniel Barden, the goalkeeper that we're looking at from York, could be a fantastic signing. I say apparently. He is quite good. But he also hates important matches, and that's annoying. Hadn't had bids in Ejaria in like one day. It's a good offer here from Southampton. It's nearly 9 million. Reject. Am I losing the plot? I feel like I should have been accepting that. Having a look through free agent centre-backs, Bashir Humphreys is available. Naturally left-footed, centre-back, can play a whole host of positions. He really ticks the boxes. He only wants to be a fringe player. Why does he want so much? Never mind. Luke Mbete here, another left-footed centre-back option, was at Manchester City. Not a bad player, it has to be said. Has experience playing at League One level. Has had an offer from Mazembe, who I think are like the biggest team in the DRC, which means he's probably going to be more interested in joining them than us. Apparently his wage demands aren't actually that unreasonable. I'm going to get rid of Treat Club as a stepping stone. You won't be playing as a wide centre-back, mate. Apparently he wants £6,000. That's probably due to the offer he's had elsewhere. He also wants a match higher Sterner clause. I feel like I'm negotiating here a deal that I know I'm not going to like. And I just want to see how much it would cost me to sign him. I don't even feel like he's worth 7,000. I'm going to submit that offer. I just want to quickly do something. Compare him with Zach Orr. How does he compare with Orr? Is he better? I mean, he is better, but I'm not sure he's new highest earner better, is he? You know what? I'm going to submit the offer for him and see what he says whilst I look at a load of other players here that I've got scouted. He's probably going to be now the one player who decides he does want to sign for me, and I'm just going to be annoyed about it, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. George Edmondson used to be an absolute baller in Football Manager. The 29-year-old, I feel like he used to have some mad potential in game. He's actually a very good centre-back. Like, really, really good centre-back, I feel like. Is he better than Kingdon? He's a similar mould of player to Kingdon. Is he better than Kingdon? Yeah, here he is. George. George, if you're reasonable here, mate, we could have a great friendship. My initial offer there from my staff is £2,000. I'm willing to give him significantly more than that. This guy could be really good. 3-year deal for the 29-year-old. I'll tell you what, he'd be a great centre-back. I mean, of all the players we've got scouted, he is rated particularly highly. One of the things I love about him, 29 years old, okay determination, but fairly professional personality. Would be nice to get some slightly older, more influential players into the team who do have kind of beneficial personalities. The fact he's got 16 jumping reach and 16 heading could make him a really useful weapon from set pieces too. Last year, he was playing in the Championship. In fact, he's been playing in the Championship the last few years. Just never really given a chance by Stoke. Of all the centre-backs I've got scouted, he is comfortably rated as the best. I think George is the man. I now really want him. No one's made a bid for him yet. Watch someone make a bid for him now when I hit continue. Okay, well, good news. No one's made a bid for him yet, but apparently we're going to face late pressure. Let's look at some positives. Overton, £140,000 received. He's not an £140,000 player. You know what? I'm pretty happy with that money. And I'll tell you what else I'm happy about. This transfer here. Dane Scarlett set to join the club on a free transfer. £4,000, not cheap whatsoever. But for a 23-year-old who I think can be a League One quality striker right away, a player who I actually think can work really nicely alongside Joe Taylor out of a striker, I think this is a good pairing. Apparently he could be a leading League One player. I feel like that's disrespectful to him. I think he can be much better than that. I'm a tiny bit worried on getting caught up too much of the name Dane Scarlett and how good he used to be in Football Manager, but I've never managed him before. I'm going to see if he's actually any good. I've been recording this transfer special for an hour and 50 minutes. I've got one signing to show for it, but it's a good signing. Leave me alone. There's so many offers going in for Zach Swanson here. I feel like it's very, very unlikely he ends up picking us. I'd love to be wrong. Luke Mbete's agreed to sign for us on £7,000. I can't do it. I'm going to hit delay. I'm never doing this deal in a million years. He's not a bad centre-back. He's not £7,000 a week good. I really want to get George Edmondson now, because I feel like if George joins me on half the price, like I can't then talk myself into signing Luke instead. When you look at the head-to-head, the guy in green is half the wages of the guy in blue. George, please come and join me. Callum Jones leaving the club, by the way. £70,000 for another fringe player who I'd already demoted down to the under-21s. Just feels like quite good money. Look, there may only be one player in the transfers in column, but when you look at the transfers out and the money received for backup players, I feel like we're doing good business. Sometimes in transfer specials, I don't need to go crazy. Don't listen to what I'm saying now when in tomorrow's part 2, I'm going absolutely bonkers. Bad news that we kind of knew was coming. Zach Swanson has signed for Huddersfield. £4,000 a week for him. I never could have offered that kind of money. I mean, I could have done it, just would have been moronic, so I didn't. I really want to get this George Edmondson signing over the line. The season starts now in under 3 weeks. There's loads of business still to be done in terms of recruiting players. But if I get him, I'm really happy with my starting 11. And also, it would make for quite a good end point for today's video. But the more I just hit continue trying to get the transfer to happen, the more worried I am. I'm just eating into my own time to sign players in the future. I have got a scout report, by the way, back on Tyler Roberts. Remember him? Yeah, I was looking at him before, wasn't I? Apparently, he'd be a good signing. His wages are still absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Now this is a good point to end the video. George Edmondson signs. Right, get him in. Welcome George. And then Mbete, piss off. £7,000 a week. No, thank you. George is at the wheel. No, actually, I'm at the wheel. George is in the passenger seat. That's a better way of using the analogy. This guy is our new set-piece weapon. Look how big his neck is. It's as wide as his head. He means business. And what it means is if the season started tomorrow, we'd line up a little something like this. Dane Scarlett in, Edmondson in. Admittedly, I probably would have Teddy in goal. I feel like lining up without a goalkeeper wouldn't be smart. I feel like there's still a lot of room to improve this squad still. And given the fact the first team is only 22 players, I am going to sign some more players next time. But I'm feeling a little bit calmer now we've got a few signings over the line. I do wonder if there's maybe a better striking option out there than Dane Scarlett. But if I can't find anyone else, I'm willing to put a bit of faith in him. I know there's going to be one topic that dominates the comments today, so feel free to have your say. Tammy Ejaria, I've rejected £10 million plus bids for this guy today. Am I losing the plot? Would you do the same? Let me know down below. I will read the comments, but I don't know if they're going to be kind to me. The start of the season, game against Crewe, 17 days away. Still going to be looking to make some late additions to this team. Things next time out could be carnage. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video though. Go down below, leave a like if you enjoyed. It's been a mammoth recording session. Pray for editing Jack. I'll see you tomorrow for more. I'm out.